Hello everyone, how's everybody doing? Guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about the 5 most common reasons as to why traders fail. So let's get started. So guys, the first most common reason as to why you're losing is you underestimate your losses. And before you click off this video, I know this is one of the most basic advices you will ever hear. However, let me try to explain it mathematically and logically for you. Guys, when you try to learn how to trade, the first thing you do is you go to YouTube videos and you start trying to learn how to trade, or you go to babypips.com, those websites. What I mean by that is you just try to go to free resources and learn how to trade in the beginning. What you're doing when you're doing that is that you're accumulating something called broad concepts. Those are the broad concepts of the market. They are not refined enough for you to become profitable. An order block, for example, is a broad concept. A double top is a broad concept. A head and shoulders is a broad concept. When you talk about an order block, if you're trading every single order block, this is still a broad concept. You need to refine it enough for it to become profitable. And the way you refine it, and here's the thing, a lot of you try to plan for the refinements, like you're going to discover something on a pen and paper and it's going to cause your refinement and cause your profitability. However, the way you refine is by accumulating data, accumulating wins and losses, and then comparing your losses to your wins and identifying the most common reasons as to why you're losing. Once you do that, once you identify the most common reasons as to why you're losing, you start eliminating your losses one by one until you reach a point where you have more wins than losses and you become profitable. So the way to profitability isn't by planning how much more wins you can gather. This is not the way to profitability. The way to profitability is thinking, how can I decrease my losses by eliminating the most common patterns as to why you're losing? This is the way you become profitable, and this is what we call refining a strategy. So even if you go learn my broad concepts, for example, which are liquidity and all that stuff, and every single live trade that I showed you, it doesn't contain all the refinements that exist in my strategy. So you then need to take that broad concept, test it yourself. You'll accumulate more losses than wins, obviously, and then you'll look at the most common patterns as to why you're losing, and you progress from there by starting to eliminate losses to reach a point finally where you have more wins than losses. So this is why I say, guys, don't underestimate your losses. In fact, if you're beginning, if you just been taught a broad concept, you need to lose more. You need to lose a lot so you can identify those patterns, because if you have 1 loss or 2 losses, for example, then you don't have a pattern. You need 50 losses, 60 losses to start seeing the patterns between them. So you need to lose, and you're underestimating your losses by not journaling them, by not putting them in an Excel sheet, and by not analyzing them. So don't underestimate your losses, guys, and look at them to build your strategy. So guys, the second most common mistake traders do is trusting their strategy too much. Let me elaborate on that. Now let's say you build a profitable strategy and I come to you and I ask you, okay, now what? What most of you would most probably reply is, okay, right now I'll maybe code my strategy and then live off this money printing machine forever and maybe move to Mexico and sip tequilas on a beach forever there, while my code and my strategy makes me money passively. However, the reality is, guys, that strategies don't last forever. And let me elaborate on that and explain it logically. Right now, guys, 80% of the daily traded volume is done by high frequency algorithms controlled by the banks and the big financial institutions. So when you build a profitable strategy, you're building something that flows most of the times with those algorithms, and this is how you make money more than you lose. However, do you believe in 10 years those same codes will be there? Wouldn't the banks and financial institutions, for example, update their codes, evolve with the market, and do all of that? So you need to. The codes will change, and then the market will be controlled in a different way, and this is what we call the market is evolving. You have to evolve with it. Right now, guys, as we're speaking, I have 5 trading accounts, 1 personal account, 1 funded account, and 3 different trading accounts where I'm testing 3 different trading concepts as I'm trading my profitable strategy on the investment account and on the personal account. So guys, work never stops. You don't trust your strategy too much and don't identify with your strategy. You should always be testing different concepts in the market even after you find your profitable strategy, as the moment something happens and your strategy starts underperforming, you already have the backup plans. So this is a really important advice that I wanted to give you guys, because I see people who teach trading who've been trading the same strategy for 5, 6, 7 years, and I immediately know that they're not trading. they're just teaching at this point, and they don't know what's actually happening in the market. The algorithms are changing, and if the algorithms are changing, then the way the market moves is changing, and then you need to adapt to that. You need to either refine your original strategy or build other strategies. And the way I do it is simply, I'm always ready, I'm always testing strategies at all times. Don't trust your strategy too much. Now guys, the third most common mistake traders do is strategy hopping. And I know that this is one of the most basic advices as well. However, let me try to explain it logically and mathematically for you. Let's say you're using two strategies. Strategy number one has 7 trades losing streak maximum. Strategy number 2, it has 7 losing trades in a row maximum as well. Now let's say guys, coincidentally, the two strategies fall in their losing streak zone at the same time. Now instead of losing 7 trades in a row on one strategy, you're losing 14 trades in a row, which means that instead of being minus 7%, you're now minus 14%, which is harder to come back from. Now you might ask yourself, but isn't it like risk and reward? Like you might lose 14 trades in a row, but you also might win 14 trades in a row if both strategies fall in their winning streak zone, and that is completely correct. However guys, if you're dealing with your $1,000 account, that is not a problem. However, if you want to deal with investors, if you want to scale that business up, no investor would feel safe dealing with a trader who might lose in any single month 14%, for example. No investor would ever do that. They would be much happier dealing with me losing, for example, 2, 3, 4% on my maximum drawdown month than dealing with you losing 14% on your maximum drawdown month, even if you are more profitable than me. Even if you average, let's say 20 to 25% and I average, let's say 7 to 8%, but my maximum drawdown is 3 to 4%, they would feel safer giving money to me than they would feel safe giving money to you. So, and the investors are the market. You can't decide that this is good, at least in the end I'll be profitable. They are the market, and your goal is to get investors to leverage other people's money. So they decide what are the requirements of accounts, and they have decided way long ago that drawdown is something important that they look at. So you need to take care of that as well. Now, another reason as to why strategy hopping is really bad, especially in the first levels of your trading, is how do you optimize? If you're using two strategies and you're failing, how do you know, one, which strategy is failing? Two, what is it that in those strategies that is failing? How do you fix it? How do you identify your losses? How do you identify your mistakes? You can't, because your data is all scrambled together. This data for two strategies is scrambled together. What you want to do, if you really want to use two strategies, you have two concepts that you want to test, what you want to do is allocate one strategy to each different trading account. One trading account for strategy number one, one trading account for strategy number two. This way you see the mistakes in strategy number one and you see the mistakes in strategy number two, instead of like smashing it up all together. You don't want to be doing that. And I see a lot of people also like they want to have fun with trading, scalp sometimes. Don't do it on your main account. Have a trading account for fun and have a trading account for business. Separate the fun from the business. And even inside the business category, separate business number one, which is strategy number one, from business number two, which is strategy number two. Test them aside and use them aside, even if you decide to use them both at the same time. This is my advice to you when it comes to strategy hopping and all that stuff. Fourth most common mistake traders do is sacrificing their capital, and let me elaborate on that. I always say in my stories, only risk 0.5% of your account, only risk 0.5% of your account, stop risking your whole account, stop blowing your accounts and all of that. And I often receive the DMs like, I only have a $1,000 account. If I risk only 0.5% of my account, that means I only average $20 to $50 a month, which is nothing. The problem with you guys is that you believe you're going to compound your $1,000 account infinitely until it gets to $1 million, which is so far from the truth. The only way you progress in the trading industry is through leveraging other people's money, which is getting investors or getting a prop firm account, getting funded, leveraging this money, making a small percentage and making a lot of money from this small percentage as you already have a big capital. This is the only way you actually make tangible amounts of money in the trading industry. And I also always receive the DMs like, if we had your capital or if we had a big fund, then we would manage it correctly, we would have healthy risk management habits, we would be more profitable. This is so far from the truth. You're shit at trading, your risk management is shit, you blow accounts every day now and then, and you break your healthy risk management habits every single day. What makes you think if you have a bigger fund, you're going to hold yourself accountable into maintaining these healthy habits and not breaking them for like more profits, or that dream that you're going to triple or double that $1 million account and make a lot of money? You're always going to break your standards if you start breaking your standards on a small account. That's number one. Number two, no one is ever going to approach you with investment money, with funding you in your trading career, if you're making those mistakes. No one is going to look at your track record and be like, oh, you're trading $1,000. Yeah, it's not enough money. I would definitely understand the high risk and you blowing accounts. I'm going to give you my money either ways. No one is going to do that. You're going to lose investors. You're never going to make money in the trading industry if you keep doing that. You need a clean track record. Even if it's a $1,000 account, you need a clean track record, and you need to treat your $1,000 as if you have $1 million account. This is the only way you progress in that industry. Treat it as if it's a really big account, healthy risk management habits, healthy profits. So when you show that track record to someone, if you show it to me, I'll be impressed and I might fund you myself. So just have healthy trading habits. This is what you need. So the fifth most common mistake traders do is fitting your daily routine into your strategy instead of fitting your strategy in your daily routine. Let me elaborate on that. A few weeks ago, I was contacted by a guy on Instagram that told me that he has a day job. He goes to his day job from 8 a.m. in the morning until 5 p.m. And after 5 p.m., he's back testing a scalping strategy that he would need to actively trade in the morning. Now guys, first of all, before I say anything, I want to say, for everyone who has a day job, a family, a wife and kids, and you're going back home and you're trying to build that side hustle, that business, and putting that stress and pressure on yourself for your family, I highly commend you and I highly respect you, and I respect every single person who puts themselves into such pressures for their families. When I started trading, and even now I'm not married and I don't have any kids, so I don't know how that responsibility and how that pressure feels like. However, I respect every single person that is in this situation, and I commend you like to the most of my abilities. Now on to the actual advice. As I told you guys, the guy was telling me that he's working a day job from 8 a.m. in the morning until 5 p.m. and he's backtesting a scalping strategy after 5 p.m. that once the backtesting succeeds, he would need to actively trade that strategy from 8 a.m. in the morning until 10 a.m. in the morning almost. So I asked the guy, like, you'll be at your day job, you'll be really busy, and you wouldn't be able to actively trade and scalp in a correct manner with no emotions, with looking at a laptop at a screen instead of like scalping on your phone fast while talking to some coworker. You wouldn't be able to do that, which will lead to more losses and you wouldn't become profitable doing that. Now I advise the guy at this point to go into trying out day trading strategies and swinging strategies instead of his scalping strategy, because it fits more into his daily routine. And this is what you guys should do. You should look for the strategies that fit in your daily routine. If you go to school, for example, you can only trade after 2 p.m. like once you get home, then those are the times that you should be looking to build a strategy in, not at 8 a.m. in the morning, because it's not realistic. You wouldn't be able to trade it. Which gets me to the next point, that most of you also, when backtesting, you log in trades at 3 a.m. in the morning, for example. Realistically, you would be sleeping. You wouldn't take that trade. That trade that you're logging in at 3 a.m. might save your backtesting from a losing trade to from a losing strategy, to a profitable strategy. So it doesn't make sense. Like, you just pushed yourself into profitability because you took an additional trade at 3 a.m., which realistically you wouldn't do. So your strategy is in a loss, not in profits. So you should only backtest the times where you would actually be able to sit down and trade. And it's okay, by the way. If you don't have the time to scalp, just build a day trading strategy. Just build a swing trading strategy instead of a scalping strategy if you don't have the time to put in 2 to 3 to 4 hours, let's say, a day in front of the charts. If you can't do that, just build a strategy that fits your daily routine. This is what you should do. Not build your life based on the strategy that you're building. You can't do that, because trading needs to be a part of your life, not your life needs to be a part of trading. You should understand that. Okay guys, now this would be the end of this video. If you liked it, this is the first time I do this 5 most common type of videos. Let me know if you like it in my Instagram, in my Discord, in the YouTube comments here. Make sure you like that video, subscribe, all that stuff, turn on notification. I don't know what else you guys can do on YouTube. However, feel free to do all of them. Alright, have a great day and good luck guys.